Hi, welcome to this presentation on Oracle by XDuce Corporation. My name is Manish Arora. I am the Executive Vice President at XDuce. We are a young 10 years old company having our headquarters out of New Jersey. Just to share with you, most part of my career I've worked with Oracle and Sun Microsystems. I worked with Oracle in various roles for more than 8 years, helping all my customers to manage their applications and technology to get the best efficiency by developing and deploying the right solutions from Oracle. Due to my 6 years plus term with Sun Microsystems, I'm also quite well versed with the benefits hardware and software bring to a business together, whether it is engineer systems, database, applications. These are some of my core areas where I come from. In this WebEx, we are sharing with you what XDuce can bring to the table and what is that Oracle has to offer to its customers from database perspective. So just to share with you quickly about XDuce, as I said, we are about 10-year-old company. Our core strength is we are a trusted partner for OEMs and our customers both. We have skilled pool of resources for augmenting staffing for customers, and we have many recognitions and certifications which we have got during this journey of about 10 years. XDuce is standing on 4 pillars. These are the 4 pillars which define XDuce Corporation, which is professional services or consulting, software licensing, software training, and IT resourcing. Between these 4 pillars, we believe we can cater to almost every need of an organization, from conceptualization of any IT project up to maintaining and augmenting till the end. From Oracle perspective specifically, or infrastructure perspective, we have Oracle services around Exadata and ODA, which is Oracle Database Appliance. That's one of the newer products Oracle has come out with some great features in it. We have DBA services, Golden Gate services, and cloud services on platform as a service and software as a service both. On applications piece, we excel in ERP finance and ERP HCM with bit of hands-on experience around the procurement and the Hyperion as well. On licenses perspective, we are a reseller partner for Oracle, and we help our customers to procure the licenses. And then we have another great partnership with ActiveFio, which is a data virtualization company. There are 5 core areas or 5 core benefits which we bring to our customers, which is rapid deployment, seamless implementation, cost-effective solutions, transparent resourcing for them in whichever field we are helping, and helping our customers with solutions to stay ahead of the competition. These are the core values we believe we bring to our customers. Our expertise is in almost every field, in every vertical, and depending upon which vertical you are in, we bring our experts, technical experts, and also the functional experts to take care of that. Our promise to our customers is right solution, right implementation, right pricing, and the right sourcing whatever is required at any point in time during the process and the journey they have with us. And I must mention, about 80% of our customers are repeat customers. And the reason for that is that we live up to our promise each time in order to make sure that our customers are successful. We have many relationships with Oracle on various fields, which is, as I said, technology, university trainings, cloud services. We are a very big player in cloud services now with PaaS and SaaS both coming. And then these are some of the areas in which we have specialization in the resale rights with Oracle. So with that, I would like to start off this WebEx with my colleague Rohit and Santosh sharing with you the core presentation material. I hope you will find a lot of value in this WebEx, and we should be able to answer all your queries regarding the technology and how it could help your business. I sincerely hope you will find this session super useful for you and your business. Thank you.
I'm working as an Oracle technical consultant at XDuce. Today, this is first of the series to describe you how you can upgrade your database from existing version to a new version, or how can you do migration of your database from one platform to another platform. So that's kind of a first of a series that we would be discussing today, how XDuce can help you perform, upgrade and migrate your existing database from one version to another version, or say from one platform to another platform. To kickstart that, let me first give you an gist of some of the basic question, or I would say a magical question that need to be answered. And answering these questions will help you decide, are you doing an upgrade or are you doing a migrate? The first question is, will you be changing your operating system? Will you be changing the hardware? Are you migrating from one character set to another character set? Are you in plan to consolidate your schemas or multiple database or hardware on a single platform or on an engineered machine? How many number of databases are you planning to upgrade or migrate as part of this project? What is the size of the database that are getting upgraded or migrated during this entire process? What is the source version of the database? And what is the target version that you are planning for? Another and the most important thing is, how much is the downtime that is allowed or given by your business users? Another of the questions which need to be taken into consideration, like what is your fallback requirement? How do you plan to test your application? So on and so forth. Once you have answers to all these questions, you will get an idea of whether you are planning to do an upgrade or an migration. Before I start the description of upgrade, database upgrade, and what is Oracle database migration. A database upgrade is called upgrade because the data dictionary will be upgraded as part of the upgrade process. Let's say you have a 9i and you want to upgrade it to 10G on the same platform, then your data dictionary of the database gets updated. In that, there will not be any change or movement of the application specific data during this entire process. You can perform two types of upgrade. One can be an in-place upgrade, or one can be an out-of-place software upgrade. As I mentioned, during the upgrade, there will not be any change to your application specific data unless the data is part of your system, sysops, or any other Oracle provided schemas. Database migration, that will happen when your database will move from one hardware to a new hardware, or you are planning to change your operating system, or you are migrating from an endian, so from one endian to another endian, or probably your business is expanding and now you want to have an unified or a Unicode kind of a character set, which is currently not, and you want to change your character set. That's where the database migration will come into picture. During the migration, it is directly related with your application data. So, the bigger the size of the database, there may be chance that the time of migration will be more. However, we at XDuce help you minimize that time as much as possible and perform the activity smoothly and seamlessly for our customers. Going forward, when we are planning to do this migration or an upgradation project, first thing we need to understand which strategy are we going to take during this entire activity. Are we going to take a step-by-step approach for upgrading or migrating the database? Or are we going a big bang strategy? Or are we planning a least critical first database? Or the last one can be a most critical first, strategy. To describe a bit of more information about each of one, step-by-step, strategy wherein you will take one database at a time and perform an upgradation or a migration activity. Try to learn from the mistakes that has happened during that process and minimize the risk over a period of time. In Big Bang strategy, it's kind of an all-in-one downtime window. Many times applications are built in such a way that it is required to take Big Bang strategy approach due to dependency of various applications on each other, or businesses does not provide enough of downtime, or you have a limited time window during which you need to complete your entire activity. When you are planning to do upgradation or a migration, you can either decide to start with a least critical first database so that there is a less chance of failure or business getting affected, because the database that you have picked up is a least critical one, or I would say a non-critical one database, and try to learn the lessons from this upgrade and migration activity. Or you can think of the most critical first for doing this upgrade or a migration activity to learn all the mistakes that can happen and help to resolve those problems at once itself. Once you have decided the strategy, you go further and decide, yes, I want to upgrade or migrate my database from an existing platform to a newer platform, or from one version to another version. Mind well, don't consider it just as an activity, treat this as a project. Plan it accordingly, make a detailed project plan with action items, the duration of each of the steps, ownership, who will do what, dependencies, outcome expected, and the results that you are planning to achieve. Make a project plan, and that's what we exactly do for our customers, to build a detailed project plan that will describe the step-by-step activity of each of the process. Whenever we have a requirement of upgrade or a migration, it cannot be an hassle and vessel. It has to be planned well in advance, and we engage with the customer's various teams like application team or infrastructure team or a database administrator team, so on and so forth, to plan the project to happen in a smooth manner. As I mentioned, don't forget application testing at each of the stages, because that is the one which business see or business handles, and business understands application only. They don't understand just the data. They need to work on their application. Each of the modules should be tested thoroughly. Entire application should be tested thoroughly while doing an upgrade and the migration process. Lastly, whenever the project plan is built for upgrade or a migration project, don't forget to include the fallback strategy that should be taken into account, so that if at all any problem occurs, what is the minimum time period by which you will come back to your original state. That's what is your fallback strategy plan that should be in place as part of the project plan. In order to do this, there are four-step process that we follow with our customer. First process is data capturing phase. The next process is testing phase. The third one is an upgradation and the migration phase. And the last one is an go-live phase. As part of the data capturing phase, we consider to gather the information of your entire environment as much as possible. When I say that, what all things it includes the detail of your application, meaning who is your application owner, what kind of application is it? Is it a packaged application or is it a custom built application? When I say a packaged application, it is kind of an SAP based application or Oracle e-business suite or PeopleSoft or CRM kind of an application. We at XDuce have a capability to understand information about application, the dependency of this package application on the database, and what are the steps to be taken into consideration while we are planning to do this migration and the upgradation process for this package application. Another thing which is very important to understand is the information about for this application. Information like what is the version of the database, what is the last patch set that was been applied to this database, what is the current size of this database, how much downtime is afforded in order to perform the upgrade or the migration activity, what are the different data types that are being used as part of this database, what are the different components that are being used in this database, are there any dependency with any other databases or any other applications, are there any gateways as part of this database wherein some of the information flows in or out from this database. Underneath, you also need to capture the infrastructure related information, which includes the operating system information, the bit information, the hardware information, the storage information, the network information, so on and so forth. Lastly, we also gather the information with respect to the environment. When we say environment, it is related to the environment of whether it is a development environment or a testing environment, production environment, QA environment, sandbox environment, so on and so forth. Once we have all this information collected, the next phase is doing a testing phase, in which we strongly recommend customer to perform all sort of testing before going live on a production environment, which starts with a functional test of your application connected to the database, be it on an existing one as well as on an upgraded or a migrated one. We strongly recommend customer to perform an application test, the entire application to be performed with various test cases that customer has already available. We strongly suggest customer to perform a load test and a stress test as well as the performance test. There are set of tools which are available which we can recommend to the customer, like the tools from Oracle is kind of named as real application testing, which is a tool to capture the workload from production environment and rerun it on your test environment to validate the changes that are implemented on this test environment are the behavior of those changes, would we get once we have this tool in place. Lastly, we also perform a fallback test before doing an actual activity on the production environment. Now, this helps to understand what are the testing scenarios that are need to be taken into consideration while the project has been envisaged. Once we have all these things in place, the next thing is an upgrade or the migration process. It is an actual activity. Once we have everything tested and certified by an application team, this phase starts. And this phase is nothing but going within production environment. Whenever this is planned, we strongly update customer to inform all the stakeholders that are involved in this activity, which can include an application team, database team, testing team, infrastructure team, system administrator, network administrator, so on and so forth. The reason behind that is A, they would avoid any kind of maintenance activity if they have any plan during this time period. And B, if at all any issue comes up, having all these stakeholders available, things become much more easier to perform in an unforeseen scenarios. We strongly, perform this entire activity in cool and calm mind. The reason behind that is whenever such kind of project gets executed, having a lot of pressurized situation may prone to make any mistake. So once we have a thorough testing in a test environment, we capture all those things and then implement the same thing in a production environment. And while doing so, we have capable DAs and the administrator who can keep their nerves cool and calm while implementing this activity. The last and the final one, the go live phase, once it has been go live, need to verify how is the application behaving after going live, whether the performance is improved or not, how much each of the SQLs are behaving after going live, whether there are any change in an execution plan of any of the SQLs, any noticeable changes. Probably you might have set underscore parameters earlier and during this process you would have removed that, and what are the impact of those things. Those all are things that we observe, capture and go back to the customer saying this is what it is as an outcome of the entire project or an activity. Now in order to perform all these things, we at XDuce have created certain scripts that will capture your database health checkup, in which we include the script to capture the non-valid objects resided in your database. We have a script to identify the duplicate objects in an Oracle provided schemas. We have a script which can identify the application object residency check. We also look into your init file and the SP file and understand the parameters that you have defined as part of those for a particular database. If at all any underscore parameters are being used, we cross-check the requirement of those parameters, get a consultation from Oracle for removal or keeping those parameters in an upgrade version. This kind of sanity checks we perform as part of the database upgrade and the migration activity as an health checkup activity. And there are certain tools that we have already built up. I would like to put a scenario over here wherein one of our customers were facing a lot of challenges with an upgrade and the migration process. They came up to us asking for an help to look into the issue. The major reason behind that was that upgradation time was envisaged as to take in 10-15 minutes, while the same thing was happening in hours. It used to get completed in a couple of hours when they used to compile those things, while their estimate was to finish it off in minutes. When we looked into their database and found out that there are some underscore parameters that they are using, and due to which they are things are causing delay in doing an upgrade and migration. So we suggested customer to remove those underscore parameters during this process. Once they did that, the entire activity got finished in 10 minutes. So these are some of the expertise that XDuce carry with an experienced DBAs, the application owners, and the system administrator guys. Having all this team together inside, we can help customer to perform a smooth database upgrade and the migration process. We also have scripts to capture the performance statistics, whether it is in StatSpec report or AWR report or ADDM kind of report. or an ASH report for a particular time period, we capture it before and after the upgrade, make a comparison of those and give it back to the customer, describing how much is an improvement that has happened and how much is the improvement is not well, or how much your database is not performing well after the upgrade. So those are kind of statistics that we gather as part of the report and give it back to the customer. Also, we have object validation scripting mechanism that in place to identify the validity of the object, whether it is an application specific objects or an system or sys related objects. So the most important part during the entire upgrade and the migration project that we consider are three. Number one, downtime that is being afforded by business. Second one, and the most important one, is in the bandwidth that customer currently has, and the requirement to shift from source to target, the distance between them and the network between those source and target destination databases. Depending on these two, it becomes very important that to identify the time required to perform upgrade or a migration. As I mentioned earlier, I repeat, never ever miss your application team anytime, because they are the backbone. Business only understands application. They only look at the application and they do not directly touch the database. Involve application team as early as possible, and that's what we strongly recommend to the customer, and we do take into consideration when we are involved in any upgrade or the migration. Downtime. As I was mentioning in my last slide, downtime, it's different for every environment. Each customer has a different downtime definition. Some of the customers says, I have a very limited downtime. They start with, we don't have any downtime. We can't afford to have a single minute of downtime. And then we go into deep discussion with them. They come up saying that, okay, yes, we can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes of downtime. That is acceptable by the business. Some of the customer says, hours of downtime is okay with our business. Some of the customer says, these are the few of the applications which are non-mission critical. However, we want to upgrade it or we want to consolidate it. So a migration kind of an activity required. For that, we are okay to have a downtime of entire night. You can start the activity in the night time and finish it off before the day starts. Some of the customers may also come up and say, these are completely unused or the minimum use applications. You can take a week of time or more to perform the upgrade and the migration activity for this database. So downtime, it differs from customer to customer. We engage with the customer, understand their application, both discuss with the business and define the exact downtime requirement or an affordability of the downtime from customer, and then accordingly we go back and do our strategy or decide the plan of action to perform the actual upgradation and the migration. Now, once we have all this thing in place, we know the downtime, we know the bandwidth information, we are consulted with an application team, we go back and decide which is the best method to be used for a particular customer to migrate the database or to upgrade the database. These are few of the methods that are being used in one or the other customer scenario. Some of the older customers can use an export-import methodology. 10G onwards, Oracle has come up with a data pump utility. For an upgrade using GUI, you can utilize a database upgradation assistant. We have few customers who are not comfortable with the GUI, comfortable with a black and white screen. For them, we use a command line interface to perform a manual upgrade activity. You can utilize the CETA kind of tool that to tool like transportable tablespace or a transportable database. You can utilize an ARM and backup or recovery process to perform a migration between a cross-endian, same-endian scenario. You can utilize the Golden Gate as a tool which can be used in a situation where you have a heterogeneous environment and want to do a minimum downtime upgrade or a migration process. One of the best tool to use for. There are physical standby and a logical standby configuration that can be done, which is one of the utility can be used by a customer wherein they have a limited budget and want to use that particular methodology for the upgrade and migration activity. So these are few of the, or I would say a majority of the upgradation and the migration tools that are mentioned over here, or I would say a method mentioned over here. Depending on customer's requirement, we do a brainstorming session internally and go back to the customer stating which one best suits them. Let me brief you one of the customer case study wherein their environment was they were using Oracle database 10G running on an Unix platform, and their future plan was to change the endian from Unix and they were shifting to an Linux platform. Apart from that, because they were earlier using 10G database, they wanted to move to a latest version of Oracle database 12C as well. That's when this customer came to us requesting our inputs and help to perform the activity. These are on very high level, briefing the requirement stated by customer, migration of hardware from Unix platform to an engineered system, cross-endian database migration from 10G to 12C. The downtime that they mentioned was, tolerated one was 1 hour. The size of the database was almost 8 terabyte. And they mentioned that network bandwidth stuff, they'll have sufficient one while performing this activity, and they provided us the network bandwidth information as well in the data capturing process. Once we have all this information in place, we did an internal brainstorming session. This was a billing application, and billing application for an end customer who is directly accessing this application, the portal, and for submitting the bill online. In order to do that, the application team suggested, though we are giving you 1 hour of downtime, we suggested to minimize it as much as possible. So, during our brainstorming session, what all things we discussed, we tried to find out what kind of application is that, how the application connect to the database, what is the size of the database, the growth of the database, how much is the backup size of the database, how many number of users that are connecting to the system, the concurrency level of the user, the current SGA and the PGA allocation, CPU utilization on the database server, what are the performance statistics on the current setup, so on and so forth. Using all this information, we built an approach and went back to the customer. Looking at the application, the database, the type of the data type that they have used, the dependency and all, we analyzed and thought that Golden Gate application can be a best fit solution for this customer. In order to perform this, we engage with the business team, the testing team, the infrastructure team, the database team, network team, and then we came up with a final project plan stating what all activities to be done by whom, when, and how. Just to brief about, Golden Gate as a tool, it is basically a replication tool that helps to capture the data from source database, put it in a trail file, and push this trail file to the target site On the target, they applied and try to do a synchronization between the source and the target database. It is basically a transaction-based replication mechanism and not a block-to-block level replication mechanism. In order to kickstart the activity, we went through the test environment. We requested customer to capture the workload from the production using various tools that are available. The one which we use in this scenario was in real application testing. Once done, we prepared the entire test environment, made it like a production, prepared the backup script to perform the initial data load, run this golden gate on source and the target. After running that, we reran the workload of production that was being captured using RAP on the test environment in the new setup. Once done, we tested the application. We asked customer to verify the application, do the testing of the application, so on and so forth. As you are seeing on the screen, this is a very high level plan for each of the activity that we perform, and this list. This is just some of the points from a very high level plan pertaining to the database related activity. It starts with validating the customer IP environment, checking the feasibility of Golden Gate, prerequisite validation check, target environment preparation, Golden Gate setup and configuration of source and target environment, loading of data as an initial load, synchronizing the database between source and target, data validation and verification on the target side, switching of application from source to target, performing a test of application, and finally, once we got a go ahead from application team that everything looks okay, we did the entire activity on a production environment. So, all in all, the database migration activity completed successfully. The validation and the verification went pretty well. The application testing went pretty well. Finally, we handed over back to the customer the entire target site which was built, and I must admit that the customer was very happy. The reason behind that was the entire activity was finished in 30 minutes. Earlier, customer had given us 60 minutes of downtime, while we finished it in half of the time and given back to the customer. That's pretty much I wanted to cover as part of the first session of doing an upgrade and migration to a latest Oracle Database 12c. You can utilize an engineered system like Oracle Exadata machine or an Oracle Database appliance in order to do the consolidation. We have a customer wherein we got involved in migrating from their existing platform to an engineered system migration. So, looking forward to capture some more videos and all in future time. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks again.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Rohit, for the wonderful presentation. Welcome all once again. This is Santosh, Oracle Alliance Manager at XDuce. My presentation is going to be about, from the licensing and the architecture standpoint, some of the things that goes into while you are planning your database upgrade project. And XDuce totally believes in the fact that database upgrade as a project is not about moving from one version to another, but it's an opportunity for us to re-architect the entire system and the solution that's there in the IT environment, which will address the future business needs. We could review the process, understand what are the tools and technology which could be replaced, and what are the things that we could include in our system, what are the things that we could eliminate, and how we can make things better so that it addresses future business needs. Not only that, but also save cost in prioritizing investments for the future. To get that done, what we look at is the licenses that we need. Probably the existing licenses are they correct, or do we need to add some more licenses? Is there a hardware refresh that we are planning to do, or does the existing hardware require additional licenses, be it the database or the database options or any other tools that we want to implement? The components that we want to have, let's say for example, bringing in an ODA box, trying to have a golden gate in place, trying to move to rack. We can always look into those scenarios and see what would make sense for our environment. Resources that we have to have, how they are looking like for the next 5 years, or not probably next 3 years. Do I need to add more resources? How my database is going to perform? Is there going to be more capacity that I have to provide to my business? Look at the architecture, look at and see whether we need to review and make some architecture changes. Long-term IT strategy, are we going to bring in a cloud? Are we going to move towards an engineered system? What's the roadmap is going to be? Those are some of the things which we have to answer, and XDuce always believes in that, and we move or we look into all those factors while we plan a database update for our customer, so that it's going to be a complete comprehensive approach, and also be a proactive one for which will address their future business needs. To do that, what we look at is various different parameters, and rate a customer on a scale of 1 to 10 to see where they are right now and where they want to be, and what are the gaps that should be filled in to get the customer to where they want to be in next 3 years or 5 years, or probably plan for next 3 years, 5 years. The primary most important thing is data growth, where they are currently, what kind of data volume are they looking at, how they want to grow their existing data, and what kind of growth they are expecting in the next few years. And is their system, the hardware, and the traffic, is that up to the mark to make sure that they are able to deliver, even in spite of the data growth that they are looking at, the same performance and same manageability for their end customers, so that they do not fall short at any single point of time. Are they going to add more applications? They have 20 applications as of now. What if it grows to 25? Are they going to? Is that going to hamper the performance of the database? We need to look into that. What the volume of transactions that those new 5 applications are going to bring in? Are they going to be mission critical? Those are some of the things which we have to again look at. Downtime. All the applications, do they need to have an SLA for the downtime? Do they have an SLA? What kind of SLAs are we having right now? What is going to be the future needs, and how the system should look like to address those downtime issues in the future, planned or unplanned? Do all the system need to be at the same level, or is there a priority for each and every specific system, so that the downtime is an issue, a different issue for each and every specific system? Resource shortfall, how my resources are looking like as of today, how many resources are going to I'm going to hire in the future? Is there going to be a gap? How the market is looking like for the volume of growth that I'm looking at? Are the resources enough? And how am I going to become technology dependent and less resource dependent? Is that a priority? Do I need to look at options? Again, those things should be answered. Time to market. I have 20 to 25 applications, and each database has its own priority levels. Am I going to do it one by one? Am I going to do a big bang? Going to go with a big bang strategy? What's my time to market is going to be, and how it's going to impact my business? Hardware refresh. Am I going to move to a new hardware?
or is going to be an existing hardware? Am I going to add a new box to the existing system? Is the cores are going to increase? The number of CPUs are going to increase? Am I going to virtualize the database? If so, if yes, what kind of virtualization am I looking at? Am I compliant with Oracle licensing when I look at virtualization? High availability, how highly available my systems are today, and how what am I looking at for the future? How my DR is architected? Am I doing good from the DR standpoint? Is there something more that I have to do? Am I utilizing the DR system very well? Is there a need for me to look at an active data guard kind of situation where I can use my a DR for queries and reports while my production is here getting used for the transactional needs of the and day-to-day operations of the business? Is that something of a priority? What am I going to do to get there? New license procurement, how am I going to fare on that front? Performance of the application, performance of the database, how it's today, how it's going to be tomorrow, 3 years down the line. How am I going to scale to the performance needs of the business? Those are specific questions which we have to answer while we are looking at Oracle, the entire project. While we plan for the project of database upgrade, we also have to plan and prioritize our business needs and see what are the things that we could change as of today to get there. While we have understood the priorities, now we should look at what are the products that fits my requirement. All products from Oracle are great solution, no doubt about it. There are customers who are making the best ROI, best returns for every single investment that they are making, and there are customers who are burning their fingers. And it's not a challenge with the product, it's about the customers analysis of why they want to invest on a specific product. Why now? Why not now is something which has to be answered very clearly, and we have to have a rational approach while we are looking at that. And that's why we go through a complete questionnaire where we specifically try to understand with 30 odd questions. For example, if it's going to be database appliance, we have a 30 odd question where we try to go through each one in detail and try to understand where the customer is as of today and what he's trying to accomplish with the database appliance. Is he going to get the best ROI? If it's yes, yes. If it's no, we need to be upfront about it. And XDuce takes a neutral approach. And we are a neutral advisor when it comes to solution recommendation, and we go by the facts and make sure the customer understands what the gap is, what kind of ROI he is going to get, and how you could better utilize if he's going to invest in a specific solution. And we have a methodical approach for every single product. RAT, RAC, Golden Gate is all great products for high availability and manageability of the existing system. It's going to make your system seamless, but which is the right time? When could I get the best return on investment while I procure those products? What will happen if I do it now, and what will happen if I do it 3 years down the line is something we have to answer ourselves, and XDuce can definitely help you in making those decisions, the right decisions, definitely. And we recommend you to do that with the kind of parameters what I've discussed before, and think about the products that you want to bring in, or probably solution that you want to evaluate, the roadmap that you have towards engineered systems or database appliance or Exadata. All those things are great, but it's a rational decision, and we have to go by a methodical approach to get there and decide on those specific products. And XDuce can definitely help you on that front. So the next thing which goes in is analyzing your existing system and make sure that you are compliant. And definitely we have an approach. We are doing a session on that in specific to see how you can save cost, how we can look at various different license management challenges, and see you are covered from all respect while you're planning a database upgrade. Like for example, whether you're using an ASF license and using it like a full use where you try to change the schema of the database. We will check all those subtle things which is required to make sure that you are getting the best out of your existing investment and you are covered from a license management perspective. We do a license rationalization to make sure that you are not having some of the licenses on shelves, paying support for it, and not making better use of it, so that we can try to see how we could, make sure that you get the best out of whatever investment you have already done, and protect your future business investments too. That's a specific session, and we have gone through a lot of scenarios. VMware is a great scenario where a lot of customers burn their fingers. How they can better utilize their your unlimited license agreement that they have with Oracle. All those things can be discussed, and we have solutions and suggestions for every single scenario. The next comes. So right now, what we have discussed is what are the parameters, and for those parameters and priorities, what are the products that could best fit in. That's the next thing which you have to look at. After that, you need to make sure that your existing systems are compliant and is set from license requirement perspective. And then if there is a license or a solution that you're going to procure, what is the best way to procure those licenses? How can you negotiate and get the best value for whatever investment that you're trying to make, and secure your future support cost to be the least, so that your future investments is also protected while you're making an investment right now. It's something where we have a methodical approach again for how to get the best value for whatever investment that you're trying to make with Oracle, and we can go through that approach, orchestrate a negotiation in such a way that you will be able to get the best value. If you are interested in that, please do let me know. I can deep dive on this and let you know how we can bring in the value for you from this front as well. So what we do is, from what we try to cover today, is how to create a project plan, what are the things that goes into it from licensing perspective, how to look at the entire project and see some of the proactive approaches that you can look at by looking at the parameters, and how to procure those licenses at the best cost, and how to manage your existing licenses so that you are covered from compliance standpoint from Oracle licensing policy, while we look at the Oracle licensing policy. And then if there is any training need, definitely we can help you on that front too. And if there is some resource management wherein you require some additional resources to complement your existing project, we can definitely help you on that front too. So we cover end to end in terms of providing value, and that's what we try to show you on how we approach, and what are the things that you can also derive from what we are trying to do for our customers. And so this is one of the case study where a resource company based out of Pennsylvania tried to take our help. They went through the complete session with us, where we try to understand their project. We help them to finalize on the steps involved in terms of the database upgrade, and also while we looked at their architecture and the plan they had in mind in terms of products that they wanted to procure, we understood that there were some of the investment that could be realigned in a different way so that they can make the best out of it. So we try to help them understand that instead of buying a specific solution, they can alternatively invest on another one so that their ROI is assured. So they made the right investments, and that helped them save around $145,000. And also in terms of value from cost negotiation, they had additional value while they tried to procure the Oracle licenses for their existing systems. So on the whole, proactive suggestions on how to take the project forward, how to procure the products, and what kind of products they have to procure is the value that we provided, and they were able to save significant on that front. How did it happen? Because we had a deep dive session with them. We went through the complete process of making them answer specific set of questions, and with that we made our recommendation, and that helped them to save the cost. And I can definitely share the document with you on how the blueprint document would look like post the deep dive session that we do with you in specific, in case if you're interested. Absolutely, again, none of these things, be it the evaluation of any specific product, or which is based on the priorities, or the license management exercise where we try to review existing licenses and come up with suggestions. Any of those things, and the blueprint documentation, we do not charge for those things, and you can definitely leverage us to help explore yourself in terms of what investment that you've made, how best to procure the product, and what kind of plan you should have for your existing project that you have in mind. So with that, we will come to the conclusion of the presentation. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Thanks for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to work with you in the future. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.